G'day, welcome back. I'd especially like to welcome my new subscribers, and I hope you enjoy the content of my channel. If you missed part 6 of my efforts to add a threading ability to my little lathe, which have come to a screaming halt, there's a link up there now. You can go and watch that first and then come back and watch this one. Now I've got some belts on order for the front and the back, but I don't know what's going on with deliveries out of China, but ever since Chinese New Year everything's taken at least a fortnight to get here. It's just ridiculous. I was getting stuff in somewhere between 6 and 8 days prior to that, but no, sit back and wait for shit now. Anyway, I've got a little tool I've been meaning to make for a long time to use on the lathe. So while I'm waiting for those belts, I might as well get in and make that. On the subject of deliveries taking forever to get here from China, I did have something else planned to do to the lathe, but I'm still waiting on parts for that too. So I think it is in the country now, so maybe I'll see that in the next 3 or 4 days. Got to get through customs, which seems to be taking forever at the moment. Alright, so we're not going to head off to one of the machines. We're going to go inside and set up the computer and design something up on FreeCAD. So follow me in there. That way. Alrighty, so here we are in FreeCAD. I didn't tell you what I was going to make and what it is, and I don't really know what the proper name for it is, but I'm going to call it a bump alignment tool. So that's what I've named this drawing up here, bump alignment tool. I have a 6000 UU bearing that I'm going to use. So what we need to do is make a hole to fit that bearing on. Now I went through my scrap bin and I found a piece of, an offcut of a piece of 1 inch thick plate, and it's about a bit over 20 mil wide. It's rough cut. I'll have to machine it all down. So I'm going to work on a piece of steel 25 by 20 and just go from there. So the first thing we need to do is create a drawing. Do a fillet, or as I hear people saying, a fillet. To me, a fillet is a piece of steak. There we go, look at that, that's better. And I think that's just about our tool done. Let's see if we can't chamfer these edges here. I don't know if it'll let me or not. Chamfer, no, it'll let me. Actually, should we go and select? Rightio. Okay. So I think there it is. There's my finished part, and we'll run with that. Alrighty. So this is the piece of material that I've dug out to make this out. And it's got a cut in there. Unfortunately, that's actually about 35 mil that I marked on the drawing, so that works out pretty well. Got a flame cut edge here which I'll have to machine down. the two factory finishes here, mill finishes. This side's been cut with a angle grinder, but they've got to end up looking something like that and that, which once fully machined should end up looking like that. Right, so I printed that up this morning, and what it has, printing that up showed me that I only made this 26mm this bearing, and I made this, the diameter of that cut out 28, and I think it maybe do it just a little bit more clearance, but anyway, we'll have a look at that. You can see that's a bit off centre at the moment, that bolt. I will make up a special bolt for it too. So if I push that all the way back, it's starting to rub in there. So like I said, it's got a 10mm hole, it needs a step bolt in there, so I'll machine up a bolt with a really shallow head on it, maybe drill it out and put a rub screw in it or something, so it's just got a little cap head I can tighten it up with, and I'll put a bit of a spacer, just a bit of a one in there behind that. Anyway, it's a little bit early yet to get into this, and machining things like that tends to be a bit noisy. I don't want to piss the neighbours off, so I'll just wait another hour or so, and then I'll come out here and I'll get stuck into this. Alrighty, so the plan is to just clean these up with the roughing cutter, and then I'll come back after I've cleaned up the two really rough surfaces, and we'll do all four sides with the fly cutter, clean it right up. Alrighty, so that's machined up pretty well. These couple of little marks left in there, I think they will disappear when I cut the piece out of it. There's a little mark just here, but that'll go when I chamfer the edges. Now, I have no intention of turning all this part of it here into swarf. That's just ridiculous. So what I'll do is I'll mark it out and I'll head over to the saw, and I'll cut a piece out of here to start with, and then mill that part of it, and then I'll take it out, take it back over there, and then cut a piece out of here, then finish milling that. Otherwise it might get a bit hard to hang on to. Alrighty, slight change of plans. On the subject of making it hard to hang on to, I decided might be best to machine this bit out of here now while I can still grab it evenly all over. What I intend to do, and one of the reasons that I made this cut out 28mm was because I knew I had a 28mm hole saw. So I'm going to get a little unconventional. I'm going to cut down in here 8mm. I'll drill in until these cutters start to touch there, and then I'll set my Z value to 0. Come in 8mm. And then once that's done, I'll get the roughing cutter back in there and mill that bit out of there. Forgot to mention, I've actually faced the end off while you weren't looking, and I've got the edge finder in there and centered it all up, centered it. Use some of this saw before I get in there. Might be a good idea. Alrighty, so that's 8mm by the DRO. So I'll get this cutter out of here, and I'll get the roughing mill back in there and clean all that out of there. Alrighty, what I'm hoping is that hole saw cut a little bit oversized. So if it didn't, what I'm sort of hopeful I can do is take the drill out and set it back up in zero again, and just smooth it over a little bit at a time and try and nibble a bit more out. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Well, I think that actually went a little better than I sort of hoped it would, all in all. Anyway, so I'll get this drilled out and we'll get an 8mm thread in that. As I said, I just bought, they were bloody cheap, and they cut like they were cheap too. Garbage. Just chipped the bloody thing, useless, garbage. Alrighty, so next up, I think before I do anything else, I'll get a radius tool out and we'll put the radius on this corner and this corner here. Alright, just a quickie. I was editing that last bit of video and it suddenly occurred to me there was something I needed to do before I took this out of here and lost my zeros, and that was make sure that thing had cut a bit oversized and I had enough clearance here. And it obviously did, because that's all the way back there and it's got clearance. So that's plenty heaps enough. Alright, so I did this side already just to try and set some coordinates, see how this would go. These are some tools I bought a while back I've never used, and this is the biggest radius tool I've got, so it's not that huge, but anyway, let's go. Alrighty, so that's that. Actually gone in a little deeper there and there, and I did on the other side, didn't I? So I'll just sand it off. A little bit of sandpaper on a file will blend that in. Never notice it. Alrighty, so now I can go over to the saw. Look, chamfer that hole first. Go over to the saw and cut a piece out of here. Alrighty, so while you guys weren't looking, I went over the saw and I lopped a bit out of the side here. I've touched that cutter off down onto the top of the parallels using a bit of receipt paper, which is, I don't know, it's on my desk. I'll go in there to get it. Anyway, so I raised it up exactly 12mm above the top of there, so we'll run down here. I hope it hasn't got to take too much off and it gets it all, because I was pretty close to the line when I cut it. We'll clean all that up. very obviously have the tram on this head absolutely bang on now, because I cannot feel a transition between those two cuts there at all, whereas before I would have been able to. So alrighty, so while you're not looking, I'm going to knock these parallels through a bit and just run across the end. I really should have cut a piece off this, but I'm not going to bother. Shorten it up, same length as this one. I just couldn't be bothered. I can't see the need to do it really. Anyway, and then I'll get out a chamfering tool and we'll run around and chamfer this. Well, actually no, I think I'll leave the chamfering, come to think of it, because I'm going to go and cut this edge here off anyway. So it's no use running up that edge with the chamfer. All I'll be able to do is this one and this one. So I'll leave it till later. Alrighty, so I won't bore you with any more of that chamfering. I'll just do it off camera. I'll just knock these corners off with a file or something. These need a bit shitty, need tidying up with a file anyway. I'll do these bits here maybe with a file, although I'll have to set it up and do these edges here anyway, and these ones. And these ones. Anyway, so I won't bore you with any more of that. So the next thing you see will be the bolt that goes in here. Alrighty, so this morning I'm going to make up a screw to hold that bearing on with, and it'll look a bit like this. Alright, so and to save a bit of time, I've already turned this down to the max diameter, so now I have to turn it down in here 20mm to 10mm to fit inside that bearing, and up in here 12mm to 8mm to put an M8 thread on it. So let's do this. Alrighty, so you may have noticed when I showed you the drawing before, and here it is again. It's got a hex, like an Allen key in the head. Now I don't have a brooch to do that, so what I'm going to do is part this off now, turn it around, shape the front up, drill a hole, tap an M6 threaded, I think, and Loctite an Allen, a grub screw in there. Archie boys. Oh, it came off reasonably clean for a change, so it won't take too much to clean that up. Alrighty, so I'll get all this set up and we'll do something with this end of it. Alrighty, so there we have it. I did video all of this part here, but the bloody camera was swinging in the breeze the whole friggin' time, and I couldn't watch it. And I decided I wouldn't put you through it. That didn't quite come out the way I would have liked, but anyway, it's there now. So this needs tidying up a bit. I need to finish rounding off these bits here that I didn't do with the edging tool. So I'll tidy all that up. Bit of a shame about this little bit just here, but that's on the bottom where you can't see it anyway. So I'll get in, I'll clean it all up, and then I'm going to blue it, and we'll get it back in the lathe and just see how well it works. At this point in the video, I'd like to thank my patrons. This continued support is greatly appreciated. If you'd like to become a patron, there's a link down in the description. You can sign up there and drop me a couple of dollars every month. If you don't want to be a regular contributor, there's always buy me a coffee. Now let's get back to the build. Alrighty, so there we have it. Came up pretty good in the end, I think. I'm quite happy with that. Even this daggy bit in here looks okay, all blued up. Well, give me a moment to get this in a holder and we'll try it out. Alrighty, so this set this up, it's having a bit of a wobble. Let's see how well it straightens it up. Maybe I've got that a bit tight in there. And there's no guarantee that hole's in the middle of this thing, by the way, so can't really go by that. Move it away from the edge a bit. I could call that an overwhelming success, but then again, this is not all that bloody. It's a bit lumpy on the outside, so maybe that's not a good bit to be trying to make it see if it works on. But anyway, it seems to do the job. I have to say that does a pretty reasonable job of it. Like I said, this may be not a good piece of material. I'll be trying that on. It's not perfectly round to start with. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching me make that thing, and if you did, make sure you smash that like button, give it a great big thumbs up, because you know it kind of helps me out, that damn algorithm of this. Alright, so that's it for this week. Now that I've made this thing, and I bought this new threading tool, which I had to take out of this holder so I could have a holder to use, and I've got that other threading tool. I'm a bit light on for holders, so I was going to go and order some, and the set of 4 of them was nearly 1,300 baht. I thought, bloody hell, I'm not paying that for it. So I've ordered a piece of material that I can get 5 of these things out of, delivered here for 328 baht, which will be here later today, I think, if not today, tomorrow. So once all that gets here, I'm going to set up and I'm going to have another crack at making some of these. I did make some a couple of years ago, and I messed it up slightly in that they work okay, but I have to put a shim in down in this section here in order to get them to clamp up properly. So you know, it's worth having another crack at it. So that's what will be coming up in the next video, some more of them. So if you want to see me do that, make sure you come back next week. We'll have a look at that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.